what a beautiful race it was in Abu Dhabi. And I can tell you, it was not short of excitement. It was not short of drama. Max Verstappen closes the gap. Max Verstappen wins in Qatar. Max Verstappen leads Oscar Piastri by 4 points going into Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the last race of the season. Max Verstappen now 12 points behind Lando Norris. How has papaya rules save the McLarens? How did we get here? I'm going to break everything down for you. I'm going to get what's happening with papaya, with the Ferrari, and with Max Verstappen, because it looks as if it's all a struggle for McLaren. Strategy wise, coming back from the mid-season is just been a headache for them, and Ferrari has gotten into the most debacle of their season. Their season has been worst, but now it's got more worsened. The results coming out from Qatar this weekend, Charles Leclerc was able to get a good point. Why? Because Isaac Hadjar had a puncture and was out of the points. Save that, they will just have had their 2 points and sleep with it. What a bad race. What a bad race for Ferrari this weekend. But King Red Bull, there are 2 drivers in the points. Massive one for Max Verstappen, massive one for Red Bull. They made a great decision sacking Christian Horner, because one of the reasons why they sacked Christian Horner was because he wanted them to focus on the next season. Yes, it was not wrong. He believes focusing on next season brings them more opportunity. They can have time to develop the car. They don't want to make mistakes. But the team was like, see, it's today that we know. When we finish today, let us now look into tomorrow. We don't know what tomorrow holds. Don't let us focus on tomorrow. Let us see what we can achieve today. And they poured all their resources into today, which is this season, and it's paying off. The same mistake Ferrari made. They took all their resources from April, poured it into 2026. What are they sure of about 2026? Is it not the same project 677 that they were telling us in 2024 that is the best car they are going to build? Is this and that and that? And from the first day the car was on track in Bahrain, the drivers have been complaining that this car has no rear end. This car understeers and oversteers. And Ferrari knew. And from April, they ditched the car that took them over 6 months to build. What a team they are. Getting into the race today, what a start for Oscar Piastri. He had a very beautiful start. He got himself right in front, ahead from P1. Norris did Norris thing again. You know, whenever he's having Max Verstappen on his side, Max Verstappen is his Waterloo. Had the wheel spin starting the race, lost to Max Verstappen, second position. To make matters worse, when Nico Hülkenberg and Pierre Gasly had their molecular clash, all the racing drivers pitted except the McLarens and Ocon. But immediately Ocon knew he would be getting a penalty, 5-second penalty. Ocon quickly pitted under the safety car so that he can get track position. Yes, I understand why they wanted track position, because sometimes it's difficult to overtake, especially with these cars in Qatar. Now you need a very good slipstream, a very good tire to overtake. Even on new tires, it's very difficult to overtake in Qatar with this present generation of cars. Now what do they need to do? They need to focus on their own race. That is all McLaren needs to do. They could have pitted Oscar Piastri, make it difficult for Red Bull at that point. The second Red Bull driver was out of points, so pit your own Oscar Piastri then. Make it difficult for Red Bull to make decision, because Red Bull will be thinking, should they stay on track or should they pit? Staying on track means track position, and if Red Bull had made a decision at that point, that would have been a very good one for McLaren. Why? Because McLaren too would have to decide, should they pit Norris or should they leave him on track? And at that point I knew what they would have done is probably pitted Norris, lose like 1 or 2 positions, get him back. They have an opportunity on a longer run to overtake, and that was the mistake McLaren made, and single-handedly handed the win to Max Verstappen and told themselves, let's go to Abu Dhabi. I hope Abu Dhabi don't happen to them like it happened to Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes in 2021, because this was how they got to Abu Dhabi in 2021 and everything went awol. But that is 2021. We're in 2025. These guys are drivers of the same color, so I hope it will be a fair race and McLaren will be able to turn it up. But for me, sincerely, if anybody asks me, I'll tell you, I wish Max Verstappen wins in Abu Dhabi, and I'll tell you why. The papaya rules, like I said at the beginning of the season, it will come back and bite them. And that is what is biting them. Remember the drivers colliding. Remember the rules of don't overtake. These are the things that speaks on the long run. Max Verstappen came back from the middle of the season and he started shining. From over 100 points, he secured his points. He's now second in the championship, 12 points behind Lando Norris, 4 points ahead of the former championship leader. That is no luck. That is no magic. That is pure pristine racing, and I tell you, it deserves it 100%. Max Verstappen deserves this. If he wins, he deserves it. I said that at the beginning of the season. I don't see Lando Norris winning because he does not have the technical know-how to win. The team itself does not have technical know-how to win. If they had the technical know-how, they won't be where they are. I can tell you that for free. They would have taken opportunities in their hand when they had it. They've lost some races. They've made a lot of mistakes. Coming in from Las Vegas disqualification dealt McLaren a big blow going into the last 2 races of the season. Pole position, coming in second and fourth. The fourth Lando Norris was even able to come in with was because Kimi Antonelli made a mistake. Kimi Antonelli could have been on the same point with Lewis Hamilton, and Max Verstappen would have been on just 10 points behind Lando Norris. This is competition. This is Formula 1. You don't take chances, you don't take risks, you don't make mistakes. Any little mistake you make at the back end, at the front end, can affect your team. And this is where McLaren are. They are almost ruining, selling, gifting, and saying Max Verstappen and Red Bull, come and take your championship, because that is where we are and that is what we are seeing. What a sorry case for them. Let me talk about Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton at the end of the race said he hopes 2026 is better. He hopes they are able to get the learnings and use it. Hoping they get the learning and use it means, is this team really going to learn from everything they've seen, especially their structure, and go into 2026 and try and win? If they don't do that, that team is finished. I don't see them winning any championship in 10 years. And for me, I would say the first thing they need to do, clear up the engineering garage of Lewis Hamilton and change it. From Ricciardo Adami down to the last person, change all of them. They are all washed out. Because for me, I can't be a driver. I don't know what you guys are thinking, and I'm asking you questions. And as racing engineer or my race engineer, you can't answer me. Oga, I will park the car wherever I am. I will break your head with 2x2. As if you don't see me do that one, your body go calm down. You go understand, say, this is how it should be. This is not age limit or age gap or whatever. This is you understanding your job as a race engineer and me understanding my job as a driver. If the car is not working for me, I have the right to tell you guys this car is not working. I have the right to speak. If they want to shut him up, then they can shut his salary up. That's what I feel, because if a driver does not have the right to speak. See, Max Verstappen has a lot of influence on his team. That is why he's Max Verstappen. That is why he's winning competitions. The moment Mercedes took Lewis Hamilton's advices for granted, Mercedes went down the drain. They are just coming back. So I think Ferrari should have learned that they need to listen to these drivers. They are the one driving the car. They are the one on the track. They know what this car should feel like. They thought the car up and down, they could not get speed on the 2 cars. At a point, Charles Leclerc was sandwiched in between 2 customer cars. The Sauber ahead, the Haas behind. Hulkenberg easily overtook Charles Leclerc in his car and was ahead of him until he had a collision with Pierre Gasly. For looking at it, Charles Leclerc could not even overtake Pierre Gasly. Funny enough, on Saturday during the sprint race, the 2 Alpines were the slowest car, and on Sunday for the race, the Ferrari could not even overtake the slowest car on the track. What is happening to Ferrari? I think the whole team, including their chairman, should sink their hand in their face and tell themselves the truth. They have messed up. They have messed up their season. They have messed up their driver's season. As in, if Charles Leclerc, being linked to Aston Martin, says he's going to Aston Martin in 2027, all he needs to do is look out what is happening in Ferrari in 2026. Then 2027, he moves. Why? Because I'm not sure Aston Martin will want to renew Fernando Alonso's contract in 2027. He will be 45 years old. They might have to integrate him into a different role in the team. Then they need somebody like Charles Leclerc. How or where do Ferrari start from? Their golden boy will go. That is it, because the team is not looking like a team that wants to win. And every driver in Formula 1 comes there to win. So if you have the opportunity, take it, win. If you are not taking that opportunity, you may not get it again. And that is the truth. It's just an eyesore looking at this race and looking at the 2 drivers. You know, we've always said, oh, Lewis Hamilton, oh, this. But now looking at the 2 drivers, seeing what they are going through for that team, especially this weekend, they don't deserve it. Those guys have put in the hard work, and the engineering department that their chairman has praised, the chairman can now see that that's the wackest, the worst engineering department this season. They have the worst strategy this season, Ferrari. Yes, the worst strategy, the worst departments. Great race strategy for Mercedes. Pitted the 2 cars. Antonelli got it right from the beginning, got a good start, went ahead of his teammate George Russell. It is just outstanding for him. I had a bad sprint qualifying, not so good sprint race because they were all stuck in traffic, but the race was perfect for him. He had a good race. Isaac Hadjar lost his tires, and that was why Pirelli said they only have 25 laps on tires. But unfortunately, he had 24 laps on his last tire, even on low fuel, lost the tire. And I think that's to do with the fundamental problem of that track. The curbs on that track are cutting. They are not sausage curbs. They are friction curbs. They can tear open tires and destroy tires. And that was what we saw. It destroyed the tires, tore the tires apart and make the tires look like they were nothing. And I think also the strategy played a whole lot of role in that race, especially for Red Bull. They did their homework. Max Verstappen knew he does not have the pace of the McLaren, but using the strategy that worked well for them, they were able to stay ahead and they did a good race. Carlos Sainz outperforming the two Ferraris in a Williams. The second podium for him this season. Second half of the season has been tremendous for Carlos Sainz. So what happens in Abu Dhabi? Now, what happens in Abu Dhabi will stay in Abu Dhabi because championship will be decided in Abu Dhabi. Now, Lando Norris leading championship. Max Verstappen second, 12 points. The three championship protagonists, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, and Oscar Piastri, have won 7 races each this season. Who will win the 8th race? Podiums might be what decides if none of them wins. Lando Norris has had 17 podiums, Max Verstappen 14, and Oscar Piastri 15 podiums. Will Oscar Piastri be able to change his fate in the last race? Will Lando Norris be able to make do and get away with some great points in Abu Dhabi? If Lando Norris comes second in Abu Dhabi, he has won the championship. Will Max Verstappen give him the opportunity to do that? Well, that is left for them to decide in Abu Dhabi. But I think the Qataris had some penalties. Oliver Bierman got a 10-second penalty. Lance Stroll penalty for speeding in the pit lane. No further investigation on the incident between Hülkenberg and Gasly. Guys, we meet in Abu Dhabi. I hope Abu Dhabi will be one of the biggest or the greatest races this season. You don't want to miss it. Catch you guys in Abu Dhabi. I love you guys. Bye. Cheers.